Hey there, Internet. Welcome to the Hard On Gear channel, where I discuss and review my used and abused knives and gear. What's going on, gang? Today I'm going to give a little demo on how to use the Work Sharp field sharpener. Arguably, not even arguably, like undisputedly the best field sharpener, or at least the most popular, most sold, most carried, most used field knife and axe general just tool sharpener that you're going to find on the market. There's other ones. I've used the Lancing Field Medics for years, and relatively small, relatively compact. You can slide it into a back pocket or into a backpack. It's pretty well made for travel. I'll do a full review and go over all the details and specs of what you can do with this thing. So the Griptilian here is going to get dulled out if you give me my set of even just cheap stones that I've got and a good leather strop. You're going to be able to get these things even more sharp. But I'll tell you, you can do 95% as good of a job on this thing, and this is all I've been using for the last 7 months, and I've touched up probably 30 or 40 different knives at least in the last 6-7 months since I joined the military and going through training, and everyone's got their dull ass knives they're beating up in the field, and nobody actually knows how to sharpen, maybe one or two other guys. So this has been a very hot commodity. If you want to see the full deal of how to sharpen properly on stones and everything, I've got a full 30-minute tutorial for the very beginner who's never sharpened the knife before. Go to check that video out on the Hog channel if you want to see that one. This one's just going to be the Work Sharp specifically, and I'm going to try and keep this one a little bit short. So yeah, you've seen this thing can cut pretty decent. I'm going to cut a bunch of corrugated cardboard. I'm going to start with this thing doing the same thing as I would on stones. I'll say again, this is the way I sharpen. People sharpen differently, different patterns, different strokes, and all this stuff. But yeah, I do it in the same pattern I've done for years, and I've only gotten better results as I've gotten better at this. So if you have something that works better for you, fine. Here's just how I'm doing it. So 20-degree angle on the Work Sharp guide. Again, I'll do the full review on this thing and show you how to tell you about all the different specs and the replacements and different stuff you can get. And now you can get little plastic wedges with different angles, but most knives are somewhere in the ballpark of 20 degrees. 19 degrees, 20. A lot of bushcraft knives and stuff like that are going to be right handy to 20 degrees. Maybe a little bit wider if you had a big, thick bushcraft blade, but most Spydercos are going to be, I think, closer to something like 17 degrees. So if I went off of this, I'd end up taking the edge right off of that. I'd have to probably work back from scratch. So when I sharpen my Spydercos or anything a little bit more of a, I guess, a steeper edge, then I pull off, or rather ahead of the guide a little bit, and then I start at that angle. So once you're doing the sharpening on a stone of any sort, you're basically going to go about it the same way. It's going to be a forward stroke like this. You're going to switch hands to do the other side, or you're going to do the forward stroke and then come this way on the reverse stroke, maintaining again that same angle at 20, or if you have to go more shallow or more steep, adjust accordingly. So I prefer to go back and forth with the one hand. I used to do the switch a lot more, but I've gotten comfortable with just doing it like this. You can rest it on a table. I find it's quite loud if I've got roommates or something like that. The coarse grind's pretty aggressive. What I did here with this does not require me to use the coarse grind unless this was a really terrible steel. Coarse grinds, and this is I think a 240 grit for the coarse and a 600 for the fine grind. But it's basically coarse enough that you can reprofile a pretty dinged up edge on a knife or an axe or anything like that. So if you need to really remove metal, use the coarse side. I don't really have any major burrs. I see a little tiny bit of micro chipping and rolling and stuff. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up, but there's a little tiny bit of damage, not damage, but wear on the edge, which you can pretty much only see microscopically at this point. And the way I describe it to people, here's the edge of a knife once it's been chipped up, bunch of dings in the edge. As you sharpen one side, sharpen the other side, sharpen the other, and eventually they kind of come together and you get a nice honed edge. So in doing that, with my 50th tangent before actually sharpening, we have the first stroke. So as you can see, table surface not super steady. I like to put this in my hand, and this little handle here works well for the thumb grip. You can handle it maybe different ways, like holding it in your palm like this. A little more risk of cutting yourself. Palm it like that. I have no problem doing it like that. I'll put that on my lap, and again, being careful not to cut myself, or just rest it on the table like this. And watch that you're not changing your angle. You can find a comfortable spot to rest it, and again, so 1, 2, 3, and you can go back and forth like this. But make sure you're doing it on the same side or on the other side the same way. So I did 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, that was, yeah. So you can do that. It's more accurate, I find, just going forward. If you're doing your major, like a lot of strokes, maybe get the work done quicker in half the time by going and doing that whole forward back thing. I don't find it's as accurate. Most people, I find, revert to this for the bulk of their sharpening, myself included. But yeah, just a preference thing, and you'll get slightly different results depending on what you're doing and how good you are at each technique. Different ways you can go about using it. And as far as like how you count your strokes and stuff, my typical method is the very simple one you'll find all across the internet, which is 10 strokes this way, 10 strokes this way, 10 strokes this way, 10 strokes this way, if it's really, really dull. Now, if it's just getting touched up, if I'm not even going on the coarse stones, I'll probably just start like on the finer grit one here and go 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, or maybe even just start at like 6 or 7 if I want to cheat a little bit. But if you start at 7 instead of 10, you're only getting about half the amount of strokes in, because that 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8 really accounts for a lot of material taken off, or at least a lot of honing done on some of the finer stones. So as I go through here, I'm just going to skip ahead the video here really quick, and I'm going to go 10, 10, 9, 9. So, you know, like 1, hold it again here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, that's not good for the tip. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And be careful not to start with the tip off, and try not to run the tip off. Like as I go off towards the tip here, I lift the tip so it's not running aggressively off the edge. Like I didn't do enough damage there to ruin the tip, but if you were to do that repetitively, you would round that and eventually have to reprofile it all over again. So yeah, just be a little careful going off the edges, like on any stone or sharpening device. But 2, 3. You can also use 2 hands if you want to make sure the edge is really secure at that angle that you're trying to maintain. Again, not the stablest table or sharpening surface, but that's probably your most accurate way to do it, is to go 2-handed, nice and slow and across like that, the entire surface. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. I'm going to continue through these strokes, and then I'm going to switch over to the ceramic and talk about that. All right, so I'm not going to go into detail in this video about you know, the burr and micro bevels or anything like that, but you can again watch that full 30-minute video if you want more detail. But at this point, I'm just going to finish making sure that burr is extra fine at the end, or basically that there's no burr at the end, and really be careful on those last strokes. So I've already done 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, all the way down to my 1s. I might go back and forth on the 1s like up to 10 or 20 times. And if I go afterwards, I'll do the arm hair check. I should be at least maybe pulling a couple hairs off when I'm done the coarse grind. And when I get to the fine grind, I want to see, yeah, and this is already, keep in mind, somewhat sharp. So yeah, that's good though. Definitely seen some very good improvement on that. So that's what I want. If I scratch my nail here, it's really biting into my nail good. I'm going to go to the coarse grind ceramic. So on this thing, you have 3 settings: fine, coarse, and fish hook. So if you have a fish hook or a gut hook on a knife, it's pretty much perfectly designed to get onto, let me get the fish hook started here, that fish hook groove. So you can see fish hook groove. I have used that as just a ceramic surface to sharpen, but yeah, you can slide the either side of the fish hook over those white, I guess, trenches you can see there, and yeah, that's your fish hook. And then over here is the coarse grind. All these lines, these risen peaks and valleys, allow a little more contact on the surface of the blade. That's what we're going to use first here. So we go from coarse grit diamond to fine grit diamond to coarse grit ceramic, then we'll go to fine grit ceramic, and then we'll go to the leather strop at the end. So same process. You don't necessarily need to go 10, 10, 9, 9, and all the way from those high numbers on the ceramic, because you're honing at this point. You're not really sharpening. But by that, I mean you're not removing metal so much as you're, again, just kind of like evening out that burr until it's pretty much non-existent. So doing this, you can go back and forth with 1s until it's as sharp as you want it, and that's probably going to be just fine. I'm still probably going to go through my process. Maybe sometimes I'll only go to 5, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, the angle guides are there at 20 degrees. I believe, yeah, there's no marking on it, but it still looks to be, yeah, 20 degrees. I'll double check on the internet. Could be a little bit different, but I can't see why it would. But when I do my full review, again, all that'll be taken care of. So now, testing out the Griptilian after the coarse ceramic. Yeah, not like the Spyderco, but still getting better with every pass. So now I'm pretty comfortable going to, the fine grit. If you skip stages, you can still get good results, but go through each of your, turns the opposite way, dummy. Go through each of the stages, go through each of the strokes if you really want to get the best and most consistent sharpness out of your knives. As you skip stages, you tend to not end up taking down as much material as you need to, and then the edge doesn't stay sharp as long because you're only really touching up a micro bevel instead of actually redefining the edge and fixing up that secondary bevel. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So on the fine here now, this could be cleaned up. You can use like pencil erasers or grout cleaners or different stuff, or you can get new replacement ceramic rods, but still does the trick pretty well for this. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just work back and forth on those same 5 strokes. Again, I could go to 10. I could just do back and forth 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 over and over again. Up to you. Try different things out. If somebody is better at sharpening knives and they come out with like super crazy results, heck, probably listen to what they're doing. Maybe send me their links. This is just what I've been doing, what I found worked, and anytime I'm ever around groups of people who sharpen knives, I've got to say, like, I don't go to knife shows and stuff like that. I'm not really in the areas where they happen, but I'm never really around groups of people where there's someone who can sharpen knives like maybe as well as me or maybe a little bit better, but nothing crazy. So this is something that works pretty well. It's simple. It doesn't require a lot of practice or tools or equipment or anything like that to get good. You just need a little $50 sharpener like the Worksharp Field Sharpener, or you can do a lot of the same stuff on this $25 Landscape Blade Medic with the ceramic on that and with the diamond tapered rod here, but definitely have more options on the Worksharp. So that was, again, about roughly, again, didn't count perfectly, but 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, and then back and forth on the ones a bunch. To the point where this should now be just about, oh God, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. That's, I make sure I get that on camera good. I'm not great all the time at getting stuff on camera perfectly for you guys, but oh my God. That fine ceramic just took this thing from like a 7 to a 9, and now the strop's gonna bring it to a 10. Now, when you first get the Worksharp Field Sharpener, which I'll make sure I put a link in the description at the top there for Amazon affiliates if you want to get a Worksharp Sharpener. The leather strop typically comes with some compound on it when you first get the sharpener. So you can get more strop. It's essentially like clay-like compound that helps increase the surface area connection as you're going through with the blade. So I think that's basically the thought behind it. You don't need it. It helps. A really good party trick if you ever want to haul somebody's boot, like a leather boot or a wallet or a belt or a knife sheath or the edge of the car window. There's a million different tricks. Seen Doug Ritter do that video. I think it was Doug Ritter did that a few days ago. The end of the car window. Just roll the window down and you can hone up your blade on that pretty well. But yeah, any leather surface works well. You want to be able to push into it a little bit because it's got enough give. It's not going to ruin your edge if your angle isn't perfect, and you're going to pull backwards. So instead of going into it, don't cut into your leather. You can see I accidentally just going through automaticity of my sharpening process, went on the leather strop and went and cut into it like an idiot. So don't do that. Pull away, and don't be afraid to press lightly down into the leathers. If I show you now what this thing is capable of doing, I'm running out of arm hair here. I don't want to, hurt myself, but if I make any contact with the hair at all, it's popping off. So let me grab a fresh sheet of the good old loose leaf. Man, this stuff feels like it's been like sitting around a pool. Like it's humid as crap, so extra tricky. So now let's just test out. Let's see the push cut. I don't know if it's gonna go. I'm gonna give it a couple extra like little victory lap strokes here just to make sure that edge is perfect before I try this and throw a temper tantrum because it doesn't cut. I don't think I can get this thing much sharper on the Worksharp right now. So let's see what happens. Big moment of truth, the push cut. Oh, yeah. God, that feels good. Sitting here trying to get that next push cut, and that first one, I guess I just got really lucky. If I had some printer paper, you'd see push cuts all day, which I don't know if that's really the biggest deal to a lot of people. I know push cutting is not something you see a ton of in knife sharpening tests, but man, I'm getting some tears there. This loose leaf is not the best to test with. But I think even though I'm failing a little bit on this loose leaf cutting, you can see this thing is super duper sharp with maybe a few imperfections. But I'll end up going over it again and really taking my time when I'm not talking and rambling and trying to keep on topic while I'm doing my sharpening. As I watch this video over, I will see my not super perfect sharpening and my hands going all over the map. So yeah, be careful when you're going through it. Again, for the purpose of this video, yeah, you get the idea. Go with your system of 10-10-9-9 if you want to be relatively accurate and precise with your sharpening. If you want to maybe go a level above that, you kind of need stones and sharpening angle guides where you actually are holding a consistent angle, or go to a guided sharpener. But God, anyways, screw this. You get the idea. This was a lot longer and more drawn out than I expected it to be, as usual. So if there's any kind of little things I missed in this, feel free to comment away. I might have glossed over something. I believe I touched about most things. The only thing I missed on this was the serrated bit you can use. So I've got my buddy's M21. Should be going in the mail here, I believe, tomorrow. The serrations on here fit nicely in this little serration sharpener. The larger ones are a little bit large for it. The small ones are just about perfect. So all you do is you can slide it back and forth like this, or you can hold your knife like so, or brace it against something and sharpen it like this. So that's the other portion of the sharpener I forgot. For the love of God, I almost forgot the inside. On this side, you have the broadhead sharpeners, or broadhead wrenches rather. So broadhead wrenches for putting on a 3-bladed or 4-bladed broadhead, and then I see a little triangle and a square here. I don't know what you'd stick in those holes, but if you ever found something to stick something in and to twist as a wrench, this thing would work quite good like so. So yeah, that's pretty handy. I do a little bit of recurve archery. This would actually be pretty damn handy if I ever had to use this in the field, although I do have a broadhead wrench. Feel free again to comment away with how you sharpen, if you use the field sharpener differently than I do, or if you use it for like axes or larger tools, machetes and stuff. I know you can use it more like a kind of a larger axe file, kind of like that, if you want to sharpen larger tools. Not the way you want to do it on most knives, I wouldn't think, though. But yeah, definitely a versatile tool. And if you have different experiences with these things or better field sharpeners out there, let me know down in the comments section. Appreciate your viewership and subscribership and clicking the like button, as always, because that's super helpful. Thanks for sticking around, and I will get back to those comments. I've been dropping the ball on that super hard. Keep commenting away, because I will get to those comments. I do see most of them still. I just haven't committed down the rabbit hole of starting to reply to all the ones I need to get back to. So that's on me. The fact that you're taking the time to comment on those videos and ask questions and comment about your knife experiences, I'm not trying to disrespect that, and I do, again, do appreciate you doing that, and I will get back to you. My bad, super slack on the social media stuff. So I'll catch you on the next one. A full sharpening video is available if you want to watch it. See ya on that one or the next one or wherever. But this is the Hard On Gear channel signing off.